Welcome to this podcast. You are about to listen to a soft, calm journey about something timeless, something powerful, something quietly magical. Today, we explore the power of reading books. No pressure, no fast facts. Just a steady walk through ideas, reflections, and quiet discoveries. You don't need to take notes. You don't need to agree with everything. Just listen and let the words settle gently in your mind. Now take a deep breath, and let's begin. Chapter 1: Why We Read. Let's start simple. Why do we read? We read because we're curious. We want to know more about others, about ourselves, about the world. Books help us do that. When we read, we travel without moving. We step into other lives, other times, other places. We feel things we've never felt before. We understand things that once felt confusing. And often we realize we are not alone. Books are not just pages. They are mirrors and windows. Mirrors show us who we are. Windows show us what we could become. That's the quiet power of reading. Chapter 2: Books are companions. Books are friends that never leave. They wait patiently on our shelves until we are ready to hear their voice. And when we are, they speak. Sometimes they make us laugh. Sometimes they make us cry. Sometimes they simply sit with us in silence. Unlike people, books don't rush. They don't interrupt. They don't judge. They offer their words and let you take them in at your pace. That's rare. That's gentle. That's powerful. Reading teaches us not just what to think, but how to listen quietly, deeply, slowly. Chapter 3: The Inner World Grows. Here's something you may not notice right away. Each book you read builds your inner world. It adds thoughts. It adds feelings. It adds colors to your imagination. When you read, you grow from the inside. Even if no one else sees it, you feel it. You may start seeing people differently. You may begin to speak more thoughtfully. You may even start thinking in whole new ways. Books don't change the outside world, but they change how you see it. And that changes everything. Chapter for reading builds empathy. There's a special thing that happens when you read a story. You become someone else for a little while. You step into another person's shoes. You feel what they feel. You live inside their world. Maybe they're from another country. Maybe they lived hundreds of years ago. Maybe they see the world in a completely different way. And yet, as you read, you begin to understand them. This is called empathy. Books grow empathy like water grows flowers. The more you read, the more you feel. The more you feel, the more you understand others. In a world that often feels divided, reading becomes a quiet act of connection. Chapter 5: Focus in a world of distraction. These days, everything wants your attention. Phones buzz, screens flash, messages pile up, and your mind jumps from one thing to the next. Reading asks something different. It asks you to stop, to slow down, to focus on one thing for more than a few seconds. That's rare and that's powerful. When you read, your mind learns how to stay, how to go deeper, how to enjoy stillness. It's like meditation, but with words. So if you feel distracted, scattered, overwhelmed, try a book. Let it pull you in. Let it hold your attention. Let it bring your mind back to peace. Chapter 6: Books make you a better communicator. Reading helps you speak better, even if you don't realize it. Why? Because when you read, you see how language works. You see how sentences are built. You see how ideas flow. You notice the rhythm of good writing. And slowly, without trying, your own words begin to improve. You begin to speak with more clarity. You begin to write with more ease. You learn new words. You observe better grammar. You feel more confident when expressing your thoughts. Not by memorizing rules, but by spending time with books. Books are quiet teachers. And the more time you spend with them, the stronger your communication becomes. Not loudly, not suddenly, but gently and forever. Chapter 7 Reading is a quiet revolution. We often think of change as something loud, protest speeches, movements, but some of the biggest changes begin in silence. Inside a book, inside a mind, inside you. When you read, you're feeding your thoughts. You're questioning things you never questioned before. You're discovering things you never knew existed. That's a kind of revolution, soft, personal, and deep. No one may see it happen, but one day our voice becomes stronger. Your choices become wiser. Your thinking becomes sharper. And it all began in a book. Reading doesn't just inform, it transforms. Chapter 8 Books as Safe Places. Life can be noisy. People can be difficult. Days can be heavy. Books offer a different space. A place where you're not judged. A place where you can rest. A place where you can be completely alone and completely connected. There's comfort in knowing you can always return to a favorite story, to a favorite character, to a sentence that once gave you hope. Books hold space for us. Whether you're sad, excited, confused, or tired, there's a book waiting with open arms. You don't need to explain yourself. You just need to read. Chapter 9 Imagination comes alive. When you read, your mind paints pictures. You see cities that don't exist. You meet people who live only on the page. You feel things that have no name. That's the power of imagination. And books keep it alive. Television shows you everything. Books ask you to create it yourself. They hand you the words and trust your brain to build the world. That's not just entertainment. That's exercise for your creativity. Imagination is not just for children. It's a skill, a strength, a gift. And books are where that gift grows. The more you read, the more your imagination stretches, and the more colorful your inner world becomes. Chapter 10 A book can change your life. Sometimes it's just one sentence, one idea, one story, one line, and something inside you shifts. You read something and it feels like it was written just for you. You sit back. You take a breath. You think that's exactly what I needed to hear. Books have that quiet power. They don't force you to change. They invite you to. You may be going through something difficult. You may feel lost, tired, uncertain. Then you open a book and somehow it speaks to your heart. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to help you take the next step. That's the magic. That's the moment. And you never forget it. Chapter 11 The Joy of Getting Lost. In real life, getting lost can feel scary. But in books, it feels like freedom. When you read, time disappears. The world around you fades. You forget where you are. And you don't want to be found. You're inside the forest. You're standing on a distant planet. You're walking through a memory that isn't yours. And it's wonderful. This kind of escape doesn't mean you're running away from life. It means you're expanding it. Books give you space to breathe, to imagine, to wander. And when you return to the real world, you often come back with fresh eyes. Chapter 12 Reading makes you gentle. In a world that pushes you to rush, to compete, to win, books teach you to slow down, to observe, to reflect, to care. When you spend time with stories, real or imagined, you begin to notice more. You notice people's expressions. You hear their tone. You understand their silences. Reading gives you soft eyes. Eyes that look at the world with kindness, not judgment. You become more patient, more thoughtful, more human. Not because the book told you to be that way, but because it showed you how. And that's something rare. That's something precious. Chapter 13 Reading is a conversation. You may be sitting alone with a book, but you're not really alone. You're having a conversation, not with a person in front of you, but with a voice from another time, another place, another mind. Books speak, And when you read, you answer in silence. You bring your thoughts. You bring your memories. You bring your questions. And the book listens. Sometimes you agree with what you read. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you feel seen. Sometimes you feel challenged. That's what makes reading powerful. It's not just about information. It's about dialogue. It's about forming your own understanding by meeting someone else's. That's not just reading. That's growth. Chapter 14. Every reader is different. Here's something important to remember. There's no right way to read. Some people read fast. Some people read slow. Some underline every line. Some just let the words wash over them. Some love fiction. Some love history. Some love short stories. Some love poetry. And all of it is okay. Reading isn't a race. It's not a test. It's a relationship. And like any relationship, it's personal. So choose what calls to you. Read what feels good. Take your time. Your reading journey is yours alone. There's no should. Just your curiosity and the books that feed it. Chapter 15. Readers become thinkers. When you read often, you begin to think differently. You begin to ask better questions. You begin to notice small details. You begin to look beneath the surface. This isn't about becoming clever. It's about becoming clear. Books don't just give you answers. They teach you how to ask. They help you become more thoughtful, more reflective, more aware. In a world that moves fast, books teach you to pause, to think, to wonder, to connect the dots. Readers are often quiet, but their minds are deep. And that depth becomes wisdom. Chapter 16. Books as memory keepers. Time moves fast. Moments fade. People change. Places disappear. But books remember. Books hold memories that we would otherwise lose. They capture thoughts, feelings, cultures, languages. They preserve stories from generations before us. Books are like time machines. You can open one and go back 20 years, or 2000. You can hear a voice that was silenced long ago. You can feel what it was like to live in a different era. That's more than just information. That's memory. That's legacy. And when you read, you become part of that chain. You keep those memories alive. Books don't just belong to shelves. They belong to human history. Chapter 17. The ritual of reading. Reading is not only about what you read. It's also about how you read. It can become a ritual, a calming part of your day. Maybe it's a few pages in the morning with coffee. Maybe it's 10 minutes before bed. Maybe it's under a tree or by a window, or in the quiet corner of a room. Wherever it is, it becomes your space, your breath, your break from the noise. And over time, it becomes sacred, not because of pressure, but because of peace. This ritual brings rhythm to your life. A soft pause between busy moments. A moment to slow down, look inward, simply be. The more you protect this ritual, the more it protects you. Chapter 18. Books, inner strength. Life can feel uncertain. Storms can come without warning. Doubt can whisper loud. And still, a book can steady you. Books don't give all the answers, but they remind you you're not alone. Someone else has felt this before. Someone else has walked this path. Someone else has survived. That reminder gives strength. Quietly, gently, fully. Sometimes strength doesn't roar. Sometimes it looks like a person, sitting still, turning a page, choosing to keep going. Reading helps build that strength, not through force, but through quiet understanding. And that is power. Chapter 19. Reading is an act of self-love. In a busy world, you're always giving your time, your energy, your thoughts. But when you read, you give something back to yourself. You give yourself silence. You give yourself imagination. You give yourself rest. Reading isn't selfish, it's self-care. It's one of the simplest ways to return to yourself, to refill your mind, your heart, your spirit. A book doesn't ask anything from you. It waits quietly, patiently, lovingly. You open it, and it opens something inside you. And for that brief time, you belong fully to yourself again. Chapter 20: The kind of readers we become. Reading changes you slowly. You may not notice it day by day, but over time it shapes the way you think, speak, feel, and live. You become more curious, more empathetic, more present. You begin to see stories in every face around you. You begin to listen more deeply. You begin to value silence. Reading doesn't just make you smart, it makes you soft, wise, open. And in a world that often pushes people to be loud, fast, and certain, being a thoughtful reader is an act of quiet rebellion. You don't just become a better reader, you become a better human. Chapter 21: The story never ends. Every book ends, but the story lives on. It lives in the thoughts you carry, in the questions you ask, in the way you now see the world. Books stay with us in invisible ways. You might quote a line without knowing where you heard it. You might act with kindness inspired by a character. You might make a decision shaped by a sentence you read years ago. The book ends, but its voice keeps whispering. And so in a way, it never really ends. And neither does your journey as a reader. There's always another page, another chapter, another chance to grow. Thank you for spending this quiet time with me today. In a noisy world, taking time to listen, to reflect, and to reconnect with the power of books is something special. Reading isn't just about learning more English. It's about learning more about yourself, about others, about the world we all share. If you've been inspired to pick up a book or to return to reading after some time away, that's beautiful. Don't wait for the perfect book. Just start. Let the words find you. And remember, you don't have to read fast. You don't have to read everything. You just have to read with your heart open. Until next time, take care of your mind. Take care of your words. Take care of your story. Because you're part of the world's most beautiful book. Goodbye for now and happy reading.